Ouija's grants us the clarity to see beyond the veil of mortality. Ouija's is a timeless Soul deity, eternally young and respected by all Soul who have any interest in their heritage. Through her, one can understand the world, the afterlife, and the intricacies of the human heart. Her energy is the legacy of the Soul people, her determination the source of their will to survive against great adversity. Belittled by some as a lesser counterpart to Bokop and an inferior rival to Nerul, Ouija's is actually one of the most powerful deities of Urt. She represents magic, the finality of death, and guardian of the afterlife, and the natural laws that govern these things, or in love's case, its lack of such laws. As the goddess of magic for a long-lived magical empire, fallen in a near-genocide event, Ouija's has been a constant fixture on Urt, and people of all cultures recognize her might and symbols, even though her own worshippers might not fully understand her. Ouija's is a powerful goddess who is used for getting what she wants. She insists on things being done her way, will chase it with great passion, and will go beyond reason to achieve it. Her running affair with the chaotic deity Naribo only shows that she will get what she wants, even if she has to compromise her own principles. The Lord of Time, Lendor, a venerable and ageless dragon, observed the unfolding changes with growing unease. Despite the existence of rules governing creation and the balance between good and evil, he could only perceive chaos, which unsettled him deeply. With patience, he enlightened more and more of the early humans, revealing that an organized path founded on study and knowledge could bring about balance and growth. Those who heeded his guidance separated from the main human tribe, forming what is now known as the Soul. To continue guiding these enlightened humans, he summoned from the ever-turning wheel of time 3 deities to aid the Soul on their journey to order. Ouija's was the first deity to break free from the wheel, and through her teachings enabled the early Soul to establish a functional code of laws, which grew over the millennia into a very lawful society. Lendor empowered her with a magic portfolio, and she taught the Soul how to create magic in a controlled manner. The human tribe became extremely adept under her guidance. The humans, however, caused the twin cataclysms with their power of magic, and death and suffering was rampant. It is then that Lendor instructed her to bring her responsibility falls on securing the dead, rather than being responsible over death itself. Thus, she became Death's guardian, the steward of the dead, who teaches the correct right over the physical corpses and guiding the spiritual force of the afterlife. She also compels the Soul to comprehend, rather than fear, the connection between magic and death. The Ruby Queen became a powerful goddess amongst the Soul, and today she is also respected amongst any human culture, be it a mixed heritage or not. The witch goddess is always depicted in religious art as an alluring Soul woman wearing a beautiful and elaborate gown, often surrounded by a sphere of magic light. When she sends visions of herself to worthy worshippers, her gown might instantly change its appearance several times. She never disguises herself as anything other than a beautiful woman, be they short or tall, slender or buxom, youthful or mature, although she has been known to take the features of another humanoid culture. Ouija's displays her symbol, a skull in front of a fireball, as a piece of jewelry such as a necklace, brooch or ring, although some of her more elaborate gowns might themselves be a motif of skulls and flames. And Ouija's has no sacred animal following her around, although she is sometimes accompanied by constructs of magic items in the shapes of animals. A few temples are lucky to have one such construct as a gift from the deity herself. Although the Ruby Sorceress portfolios would seem to put her at odds with other powerful entities, her wisdom and strict adherence to her domain of influence has kept them on peaceful terms. Her true allies are lawful deities of the Soul pantheon, and she will ignore most other non-Soul deities. For example, Pholtus may be the Oridian god who claims to be the absolute authority on law and the natural order. He is from another pantheon, and Ouija's focuses most of her attention on the laws of magic and death, which are outside his purview. She will work with non-soul lawful deities if she absolutely must. Although some may expect otherwise, she respects Bokop, who is outside of the Soul pantheon and who is focused on preserving the magic of Urth, leaving Ouija's free to manage its practical, creative, and aesthetic aspects. Nerol is an ancient Flan deity, and she is very delicate with her dealings with him, as for him, life ends abruptly, while she is more a steward of the afterlife. With this disposition, their portfolios complement each other rather than compete. Lastly, she is not on speaking terms with any chaotic deity save her lover, Nuribo, a chaotic scoundrel with no respect for law and order, although from time to time her church comes into conflict with that of Nuribo for obvious reasons. This passionate affair represents the unruly side of her. The witch goddess is the mistress of magic, who teaches that any type of magic, be it arcane or occult, is worth devoting one's life to. Whether it is spellcasting, creating or using magic items, or even its effects in general, magic should be more practical rather than benign, more lawful than compassionate. For example, if a wizard's spell requires a human heart, no magical custom should stop the wizard from using it, although he or she should not simply murder someone for the heart, but rather buy or trade for it legally. The common folk should thus not fear Ouija's followers, as they will never be at risk of magical experimentation against their will. Slaves are property, however, and are not subject to these protections. She is Death's guardian, the lady of the portal between worlds, and the guardian of those who have passed on. She teaches her followers that it is not about stalking the night to add a few more souls to the pile. That is Nerol's business. Instead, she teaches that death is part of the natural order of things, one of the laws defining mortal existence. Her law states that the focus needs to be on the spirits of the dead, not their bodies, although the correct rites need to be performed on the physical host. Because she guards the souls of the dead, she is displeased when these spirits are involuntarily summoned back to the mortal world and corrupted into undead, unless the spirit is voluntarily willing to. Her belief in the sanctity of death is so strong that her clergy are forbidden from raising the dead by any means without first consulting with her. A variety of punishments awaits them who disobey this law. The Ruby Sorceress teaches that the law of the universe needs to be obeyed, for it is what is needed to define and control magic, whether by instinctive awareness of how it operates or intensive study and research. Her teachings as the goddess of laws allowed the early Sul people to create a code of laws, although only fragments now exist, that helped their society prosper and grow into a great magic empire. To understand the laws of the mortal realm is to hold the key to the universe, and within the Sul pantheon she commands all this knowledge. The symbol of Ouija's is a vivid depiction of a crimson skull engulfed in swirling flames. The skull, bold and prominent, exudes an aura of fiery intensity, symbolizing both the inevitability of death and the transformative power of magic. As flames dance around it, the skull becomes a vocal point, commanding attention and evoking a sense of awe and reverence. It is a striking representation of the goddess's dual domains of death and arcane mastery, encapsulating her role as a divine figure of both dread and fascination. The exterior of her temples are imposing and dignified, designed to inspire reverence and respect. It might be constructed from dark stone, with tall, slender spires reaching towards the sky. The architecture would be elegant yet austere, with intricate carvings and symbols depicting skulls, flames, and arcane sigils adorning the facades. At the entrance, the large double doors are made of polished wood or metal and engraved with images representing death, magic, and law, serving as a reminder of her spheres of influence. Above the entrance, a relief of Ouija's symbol, a red skull wreathed in flame, is prominently displayed, indicating the purpose of the temple. Upon entering the temple, visitors will find themselves in a grand foyer or atrium, illuminated by flickering torches or magical flames. The air is scented with incense, creating an atmosphere of solemnity and mystique. The walls would be adorned with tapestries depicting scenes from Ouija's mythology or the history of her followers. The main chamber of the temple is a vast sanctuary, with high ceilings and stained glass windows casting colorful patterns of light onto the floor. Flanking the altar, statues or effigies of Ouija's in various aspects might be positioned, each representing the different facets of her divine nature: death as the final journey, magic as the source of power and understanding, and law as the foundation of order. Ouija's, characterized by vanity, is revered by her followers through hymns honoring her as the mistress of death and magic. Never is this more apparent when followers perform the Day of the Dead. They will visit the graves of dead relatives and loved ones, but they don't necessarily go to mourn. Instead, they will clean the graves and headstones or decorate them with flowers. Some might pray, while others play music. The environment almost resembles a sort of a party, with some music and food and drinks. The people come together to share stories of their loved ones, helping to keep their memory alive. Under the guidance of the priests, the congregation may partake in periods of contemplation and meditation, pondering the mysteries of life, death, and magic. These introspective moments foster a stronger bond with Ouija's and provide insights into existence. Services include rituals honoring departed souls, conducting magical rites to commune with ancestors, and presenting prayers and sacrifices to the goddess for guidance in matters of death and magic. The witch goddess's realm is on the plane of Acheron, in the layer of Acanthus, an infinite, perpetually dark expanse, filled with razor-sharp shards of black ice that fly around at high speeds. Here resides her realm, the Cabal Macabre, a huge and intricately carved ice castle with horrifying architecture, glowing with a pale, heartless light in the otherwise pitch-black layer. Devout followers of Ouija's may continue in her service even beyond death, overseeing departed souls, performing magical duties, or fulfilling the goddess's will. A select few may even earn reincarnation or resurrection, returning to the mortal realm to further serve Ouija's or complete unfinished tasks. Those who have disappointed Ouija's will be consigned to the lair of Tintabulus, characterized by chilling temperatures, perpetual dimness, and a constant hum. Here in her stronghold known as the Patterned Web, an octagonal structure resembling a spiderweb, the unfaithful follower remains until the goddess deems their debts paid. These are the anathema of the faithful. Ignore or not act on a love interest, create undead, desecrate a corpse or rob a tomb, willful destruction or suppression, magical knowledge or artifacts, breaking established law. These are the beliefs of the faithful. Respect the dead. The dead must not be abused, and nothing may be done to their bodies unless they consented to it while alive. Respect those who came before you, left their knowledge, and died to make room for the next. Magic is the key to all things. It is a sacred endeavor that leads to deeper understanding and enlightenment into a fundamental nature of reality, allowing practitioners to perceive the underlying forces that shape the cosmos. Laws define mortal existence. Law is the foundation upon which the universe is built, providing stability and predictability to existence. Ouija's also demands that legal precedents are upheld and that souls are properly adjudicated according to divine law. These are the goals of the faithful. Guard the secret knowledge of death and the afterlife. However, do not hunt nor be afraid of this knowledge, for immortality is impossible. Undeath, wherever it can be found, must be destroyed, and one cannot prevent the soul from traveling to the afterlife. Gain mastery of magic. unlock greater understanding of magical power through study, practice, and creating powerful spells and items. Protect the laws of the universe. Understanding the laws of the mortal realm is to hold the key to the universe. These are some of the everyday sayings of the faithful. Mother of souls, protect thee. This blessing or invocation for protection is uttered to appeal to the Ruby Lady to watch over and safeguard the person in question, especially in matters related to the afterlife or spiritual well-being. Magic is the key of all. A person who is confused about his place in the world will hear this being spoken to him. Magic controls life and death, the heart and the mind. It operates by a set of laws. And knowing those laws arms you to deal with all aspects of life, death, and the afterlife. It serves to remind the person that the world works according to certain rules, and those rules can be studied and mastered. Honor the dead. This saying is used to daily remind people that every creature that has died has influenced the world today in some way. Every stone in a house was placed there by someone. Every spell crafted was written by another. By thinking about the chain of acts from the past to the present, a wise person begins to see a pattern to the world and can think ahead of what contributions his actions today will have in the future. To defy the Lady of Graves will invite her shadowed wrath. Used to condemn someone who disrespects or goes against the goddess's principles by uttering this curse, the follower is emphasizing that such defiance will bring severe consequences, invoking Ouija's darker, wrathful aspect which brings about punishment and misfortune. Malf Ulat's Divining Board. Whether the Soul Mage priest Malf Ulat created or discovered this device is unknown, but his many years of unearthing prophecy and dodging disasters proved the item has significant power. Built of lacquered cedar wood, the board consists of 2 hinged pieces covering an area 2 feet on a side when opened, nearly an inch thick. The board is bound on the edges with runes of gold and silver, and the top is covered in dozens of runes, arcane symbols, and letters in various alphabets, either carved or inlaid with ivory. To activate the board, the user places a large gem on its surface and holds it with the tips of their fingers. The user then speaks out to the board in a clear voice, asking a question about the past, present, or future. The board steers the gem towards various symbols and letters, spelling out its answers. Because of the age of the divining board, it is likely that it only responds to requests spoken in the dead Sulois language, although it may be able to understand parts of the common tongue spoken by Sul descendants. Malf Ulat's fate is unknown. He might have perished in the rain of colorless fire or survived by becoming a Sul Lich. In either case, the divining board is likely buried somewhere in a ruin deep in the sea of dust. This ornate dagger is decorated with a skull and fireball motif. Forged by the Sul witch Akalra and quenched in her own blood, this talisman was the key to protecting her against political and arcane enemies. Born of a low social status, she managed to join a witch's coven based on her raw talent alone, which she refined over the years until she became the coven's leader. Eventually, she came into conflict with Igwilf, a powerful witch who despised Ouija's arts and her followers. Igwilf was not to be trifled with, especially not by a fledgling witch like Akalra, who was killed in 465 of the common year. As a powerful witch who died trying to destroy Igwilf, Akalra is one of the few martyrs of Ouija's church. This elaborate feminine gown is a work of art, decorated in tiny jewels, threads of precious metals and exotic fabric. Lost since the destruction of the Sul Empire, it was recovered from the eastern fringes of the Sea of Dust by Temeria, an adventuring wizard and one of the lesser daughters of a previous Gynarch of Hardby. This brave and headstrong woman first wore it to a formal ball in the city of Greyhawk in 490 of the common year, and when news of it reached Ouija's high priestess in Hardby, a few divination spells revealed its origin as an item from the Sul royal house. Although she wished to keep it for herself, at her mother's insistence, Temeria eventually gifted the gown to the temple as a gesture of goodwill and alliance between the Gynarchs and the church. The gown was worn in public only on 3 occasions, but has not been seen for nearly 30 years. It might have been lost while in transit to another church or stolen by skilled thieves. Thanks for watching, and consider leaving a comment, like the video, subscribe and share it on other platforms. An extra thanks goes to those who have joined the Grey League through my website, where you can also find the video transcripts and many other articles. The link is in the description. Now, take care and see you in the next one.